Hello YouTube, welcome to another one of my Duel Links videos. So today I have for you kind of a troll deck. This was just something fun that I came up with. Somebody had asked for a long time for a surprise present deck, and I started working with it, and this is the finished product. I'm gonna go over the cards a little bit. So the way we use surprise present, if you're not familiar with it, you set a card and then you activate the skill and you give that face down card to your opponent. Your opponent cannot see what it is. They can choose to activate it at any time, but until it's activated, they don't know what the card is. So the way we take advantage of that is by giving them Pot of Generosity. This is I'm only running one. I know you might think that it doesn't make sense to run just one of them if that's the card I want to give, but I'll go over that in a little bit. So this card, when you activate it, you return 2 cards from your hand to your deck and then shuffle your deck. So if they activate this card, they're gonna take a -2, and that's pretty much it. The other back row that you see here is 3 Jinzen Hu, which I'm gonna try my best to pronounce properly throughout the game because I use this card a lot. So I run 3 of them, and you activate this card by selecting 2 set spell or trap cards on the field. That selected spell or trap cards cannot be activated. So you really want to go first with this deck. If you go first and you have a Shinzen Hu to start, you can just set this, and 9 times out of 10 my opponents are setting 2 cards or more, and that's just the way the game is right now. Everybody's running enemy controllers, super rush, windstorm, mirror walls. Everyone has back row, and well, maybe except for Phoenix, Sacred Phoenix, which is a really hard counter to this deck. I did win against one Sacred Phoenix, but it's a really bad matchup for this deck. But anyway, everyone's running back row, and no one expects to see Shinsen Hu the same way no one expects to see straight flush. So the reason why I run 3 and 2 of these cards is because if I don't get my Pot of Generosity, I can just give them a Jinsen Hu or a straight flush. And the reason why I feel safe in doing so is because, first of all, they don't know what the card I'm giving them is. So if they activate Shinzen Hu, they're gonna need to target their set spell and traps, because I'm more than likely, if I'm giving them this, I don't have any back row. A straight flush, if I know I'm giving them a straight flush, I can easily play around it. So I have no problem by giving my opponent a straight flush. And I also give them sometimes emergency provisions, which I really put this card in as it has 2 utilities. You can use it yourself if you have a dead Shinzen Hu or you need life points. You can send any number of spell and trap cards you control to the graveyard, and you gain 1000 life points for each card. And also, if your opponent uses it, yes, they're gonna gain some life points, but they're gonna have to get rid of at least 1 card once they activate this. So I have no problem giving this card to my opponent, and the goal is to either lock your opponent down or destroy the entire back row. So if you have Jinsen Hu and you already targeted 2 spell and traps they control, they only have 1 slot left. If you surprise gift one of these cards, they're completely locked. Well, if you surprise gift one of these, they're pretty much locked. If you surprise gift this or surprise present, they're gonna have to use it. They're gonna take a -2. Either way, you're locking them down. And a lot of times I'll also use it to, if I don't have a Shinzen Hu, or if I want to get rid of the back row instead of locking it down, I'll use surprise present. It'll be their 3rd card, and then I can just chain straight flush. There were actually some games where I was able to use straight flush outright, because there's just so much back row that people are running, and nobody expects straight flush because nobody runs straight flush. I wouldn't run straight flush outside this deck probably, but when you get to resolve it, you usually win because you just gain a lot of advantage. And for the monsters, I'm using just a beatdown fiend deck with the Archfiend Labyrinth. I was gonna do something else, something with maybe with fire or water monsters, but those field spells would also benefit my opponent, and this field spell has the 500 attack boost, but it doesn't benefit your opponent. So that's why I'm running the fiends. I'm running 2 La Jin. I would run 3 if I have the third one, probably in place of Doomdog, and 3 of the Gilgarth, uh, 2 Trench Archfiend, just in case you need to dump your third, fiend into the grave so you can get Dark Necrofear, which is a really good boss monster. The other problem that this deck has, and I also run the 1 Dark Ruler Hades, because once you are not worried about back row, the only other thing that can stop you is effect monsters. So Dark Ruler Hades takes care of that. But anyway, as I was saying, this deck is definitely weak against Sacred Phoenix. It pretty much auto loses to Silent Magician because I don't have anything for Silent Magician. Pretty much anything with 3000 attack or more, it's a problem because the best you can do is run into them with Necrofear and then try to steal it. But Silent Magician is not affected by Necrofear because once it comes to the field, it's considered a spell card, so you can't even do that to Silent Magician. So this deck auto loses to that, but again, it was just something fun. I wasn't trying to counter everything that I was gonna see. But anyway, enough talking. Let's go ahead and show you some of these replays. Let's start with this one, which one's tail and tail. Oh, I forgot to mention, I'm running an extra deck just to keep my opponent guessing as to why I'm running tail. I want them to think that I'm running life cost 0, so that maybe they try not to finish me off or get me too low on life points. That's why I have an extra deck, but the cards are just random cards.
Duel.
But anyway, here I'm going first. I just summon my Lodgin and I set my emergency provisions. My opponent has a full back row, but unfortunately I didn't open up with Shinzen Hu or Straight Flush, and I'm going up against Mill, which is not a very ideal matchup. Even though you won Fiends in the grave for your Necrofear, Mill is just too strong, and he had the perfect setup. He ends up milling, I think, 11 cards turn 1, so I'm immediately down to 3 cards. I know he was feeling very confident about his win. He activates a Feint Plan, so I can't do anything, but I have my Shinsen Hu set up, so when he sets another card, I surprise present the emergency provisions, and he actually changed this card. He gains 1000 life points, but he loses his Puzzle Reborn, which was a good thing, and I happen to top deck Dark Ruler Hades, so all of his monsters have their effects negated, which was just super clutch. I'm down to 1 card. He doesn't top deck anything. I play around the Windstorm just to be safe, but I'm able to come back with no cards left in the deck. Pretty satisfying win against Mill, which is just annoying. But anyway, let's go ahead and show you the next replay against this Kaiba, which was just running a pretty standard dragon deck, I believe. But again, Blue Eyes is a tough matchup, so if you can prevent them getting it out, that's probably your best course of action. I surprise present the Pot of Generosity, just hoping that I can lock down the back row, and he actually activates it, which I was just laughing when he did that. So he takes a hot -2. I attack into Exploder Dragon, which really sucks because I have no monster that I can summon other than my Gilgar. I'm able to lock down his back row though, and now I just gotta draw into a monster, and of course I don't. I get my Palaverin, but he doesn't draw into anything either, so I survive with 200 life points, and then I draw another Gilgarth, so I can start going in for some damage. He sets a monster, I take no chances and immediately summon my Dark Ruler Hades. I didn't want to get another Exploder Dragon, and at this point I'm pretty much in control of the duel. He has a Kid Moto, but because of my Dark Ruler, he's not able to activate effect, and I just win the game that way. Pretty clutch comeback with 200 life points. Pretty lucky and just super funny that he actually went for the surprise present, and that's another factor that that you don't really think about when you think about using surprise present. Obviously, your instincts tell you to not use whatever card because it wouldn't make sense for your opponent to give you a good card. But some people, and I'm that way to a certain extent. You need to know. It's like I know when I go up against surprise present, I usually, once I'm in full control of the game, I go ahead and activate the card just because I want to know what it was before the duel's over. But anyway, here I'm going up against Merrick. He activates Conscription, which gives me my Pot of Generosity. I go ahead and surprise present that to him. He activates Big Bang Shot. I let it resolve and then and then I activate my Straight Flush. So I get rid of his back row. And that's the thing, like I was saying, he probably would have said that Mask of Weakness anyway. But the fact that my Pot of Generosity was there, um, you know, made it to where he was gonna have a full back row, and I was able to activate my Straight Flush. And at that point, the advantage was too big in my favor, and he just quits. I believe that was Merrick. So next we have Paradox Brothers. And this was a very quick duel, and I don't even actually get to use my skill, but it's just another example that I wanted to show you guys about people not playing around cards like Jinzen Hu and Straight Flush. This was Restart Ninjas, and I go first. I open up with 2 Shinzen Hu, which is crazy. He sets a full back row, and during the end phase I just activate both of my Shinzen Hus, locking the entire back row. I didn't know what I was up against as of yet, but I had my Dark Ruler Hades, so I wasn't worried about the face down. And here, when I saw that it was ninjas, I knew that the game was pretty much over. I was a little afraid of Kuribo, but I didn't want to let him build up his resources, so I just kept attacking. And sure enough, he didn't have anything, and I just win the game very easily by just locking the back row. And that's literally the only reason I won that duel. And then for our last duel, we have another Kaiba, which I don't know what they were running. Just trying to remember. But anyway, another reason why I picked Fiends is because I feel like it's one of the few archetypes where you can do very well with minimal back row and just beating down your opponent. So I set my Shinzen Hu. I didn't want to Pot of Generosity right away in case, surprise present the Pot of Generosity, and this is actually Ice Barriers, but he activates the Pot of Generosity, so he takes a -2. Doesn't set anything, which is fine. I just start attacking for 2000. Looks like he doesn't have his triangle, so he sets another card, and I just Shinzen Hu both of them, pretty much guaranteeing game after that. I don't know what he Pot of Generosity. I don't know if he didn't have the triangle, or if he just didn't have three three Ice Barriers with different names. But I like beating Ice Barrier just because it's such a dumb deck. I mean, it's really good, don't get me wrong, but it only has one play. You reveal 3 monsters and then you summon the 3 monsters and then attack. It's just like Naturia. But anyway, here's the deck. Just something fun, nothing crazy. I really like using Fiends. I really wanted to use my La Jin, and I know some people wanted to see Surprise Presence, so this was my take on it. I hope you guys enjoyed it. Thanks so much for watching this video. As always, like, comment, and subscribe if you want. Join my Discord if you haven't, and till next time.